What's going on, Monster Jam fans, and welcome to the World Finals 23 lineup and predictions show. I am the Arizona Motorsports Junkie, and today, this morning, we are going over the 2024 World Finals 23 lineups for all the competitions and making my official predictions for each. Today is the official beginning of the Monster Jam World Finals, as the last chance qualifier and qualifying will happen later on today. I'm going to be live streaming my live reaction to those two as well, so make sure you are watching that later. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it is the official beginning of World Finals weekend. It's a two-day World Finals event with qualifying and the last chance qualifier happening today, this Friday. And then tomorrow on Saturday, there will be 4 competitions. There will be 4 world champions crowned this weekend in two-wheel skills, high jump, racing, and freestyle. And it is all going to kick off tomorrow on Saturday. But the action begins today with the last chance qualifier. So let's go over the 12 drivers that will be competing in the last chance qualifier. This is the first time Monster Jam has done something like this since 2019. One of the most exciting parts of every World Finals is giving drivers that are not in the main field a chance at qualifying for a World Finals spot. A lot of these drivers, most of them, have never competed in a World Finals before and would love to get the chance, and this is their opportunity. They have to win a 12-truck racing bracket in order to get themselves in to the main field. That is going to happen today. So let's meet those drivers. We start off with Mike Christensen in Vendetta, the leader of Team Throttle Monster. He has never gotten a chance to compete in any World Finals competition before. I'm sure he's going to try and take this home and get a chance to drive in the main field. After him is Joe Foley and El Toro Loco, one of 2 members of Team Scream that is competing in the last chance qualifier. A lot of people argue that, quite frankly, Joe Foley probably deserved a spot in the main field, but I'm glad he's at least getting a chance to fight for that spot here. Another El Toro Loco driver, Jamie Garner, is competing in the last chance qualifier. Nice to see a veteran like him getting his first shot at competing in any sort of World Finals competition. Mark Hall in Raminator, the longtime veteran. He has been competing in monster trucks for over 30 years and getting a chance to compete in his first ever World Finals competition. Very excited for him. After him is Chris Kohler in Monster Mud. He was in the World Finals last year, and a lot of people, including myself, think he was kind of snubbed of a World Final spot this year, and I don't think a last chance qualifier really helps him out, a guy who's not known for his racing, but we'll see what he can do. Tony Oaks, Thunderoris, a guy who has competed in these competitions quite a few times, back at it again, has still never won a single one of them, and has never been in the main field before. David Olfert, Velociraptor, is up next, and David Olfert would love to win this competition. Definitely one of the favorites. He's such a good racer. He's been a great racer all year. The question is if he can get it done and make it to the main field. Matt Pagliarulo and Jester is after him, a guy who's been competing for a long time and has competed in multiple of these last chance qualifier events and past World Finals. His son Nick Pagliarulo, driving Kraken, is also in this lineup as well. Nick Pagliarulo has been in the World Finals before, and now this is a chance for him to get back into that lineup. Ashley Sanford and Megalodon, definitely a very cool pick to have in here. Just her second year competing in Monster Jam, and she has really grown a lot this season. I don't know if she's going to be able to win it, but I'm sure she is really taking advantage of getting to compete in the World Finals weekend. Chad Tingler is going to be driving Overboard, and this is, for me, my favorite driver in the entire lineup. I am so excited to see Chad Tingler competing in a World Finals competition for the first time in what seems like a decade. It is so cool to have him back in there, a longtime veteran who has competed in so many World Finals, and if he can get back in there this year, that would be really, really cool. And lastly, there is Brandon Toluchka in Just Get Her Done, the second generation, a driver who has been sneakily flying under the radar this year. I think is a great addition to this field, and quite frankly, could be a sneaky chance at winning to get himself into the main field. We'll have to see. So let's make an official prediction for this competition. Again, 12 trucks. It's going to be really interesting because this track is so different. They're racing on the same track as the main field competitors are, and they're going to be running in this competition the same day that they qualify on it. So it's really going to be a matter of who can figure out the track the quickest in qualifying, and those drivers are going to be the ones that stay locked in the longest. So this track is going to favor, and it's the same for the main field too, drivers who are able to cut turns really well and are able to really nail those narrow, tight tracks. So I think a guy like David Olfert might have a good time on this track, and I also think Tony Oaks might be a sneaky pick too, but quite frankly, there are not many drivers that stand out to me here. All 12 of these guys really could go on and win this competition. Maybe even a guy like Chad Tingler. I think Chad Tingler is a real sleeper pick to win this entire competition and go to the main field. So realistically, if I had to pick one driver, I am going to go with David Olfert in Velociraptor as my official choice here. I just feel like David Olfert is going to be locked in, and if he can stay locked in, he's going to win this competition. The question is if he can stay locked in or not, because if he gets in his head a little too much, then he can find himself making small mistakes. But if he stays dialed, I wouldn't be surprised if David Olfert wins this competition. He's my official pick. It is not a very confident pick because there's a lot of things that are in the air for this competition, but nothing would make me happier than to see David Olfert getting a chance at competing in the main field. Now we move the competition over to Saturday, the main event day in which 4 World Finals champions will be crowned in 4 competitions. The first of the 4 will be the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge. 8 drivers will competing to win the World Championship. It is going to be a fascinating competition because this competition has not had a normal event since 2019. Both 2022 and 23 had shortened 2-wheel skills competitions because of rain. So it's going to be a fascinating one. Let's meet the 8 drivers competing in this competition. The first is Blake Granger in Max D. Blake Granger will also be in the main field. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but he is getting his first ever World Finals appearance here in this competition. He has competed in some showdowns before, and getting to drive Max D in this competition, I think it's going to be interesting for him to see what he could do. Ryan Anderson, son of a digger, seems to be a lock in this competition every year, but yet he somehow has not won any of the 3. We've only had 2 world champions in the 3 2-wheel skills competitions. Ryan Anderson, not one of them. Zach Garner in Wildside is in this lineup, and I think this is a very interesting pick here. Zach Garner, a guy who can do some really cool 2-wheel moves, and I love the fact that he's getting a chance to compete in this competition. Weston Anderson in Gravedigger has had an insane year in the arenas. If you haven't seen the stuff Weston Anderson has done in the arenas this year, well, you are missing out because he has done some crazy stuff, and I expect that in this competition, he's going to do that this season in the World Finals. Jamie Sullivan in Monster Mutt Dalmatian, another first-time World Finals competitor. She'll be competing in the main field and here in the 2-wheel skills competition. She's been able to do a lot of 2-wheel skills moves this year in the arenas, and in her one stadium event this year, she impressed, so I wouldn't be surprised if she puts on a better show than most would expect. Your defending 2-wheel skills champion Tyler Menninga in Gravedigger, one of the only 2 drivers to have ever won this championship, and he's going to try and defend his title, and on a track like this, I think it's a good chance for him to do that. Armando Castro and El Toro Loco, fresh off of his first ever series championship, is in this lineup as well. He has been in this competition a lot in the World Finals, has never gotten to win it before. We'll see what he can do this year. And the man who has competed in all of them but has not won a single one yet, Tristan England in the JCB Digatron. This is the man who is always seen as the favorite to win this competition, yet he somehow has never done it before. A lot of bad luck and a lot of, quite frankly, bad judging has really not helped him out at getting the chance to win this championship. But he's in a new truck this year, and maybe that'll change his luck. So let's make an official prediction for this championship, shall we? With these 8 drivers, man, it's going to be an interesting one. And I think the biggest factor this year is the track. This track is going to be very different from anything we've seen before. This is a track where I think combos are going to reign supreme, but not the kind of combos that you might expect. I feel like this is a track where you can really do something crazy that we've never seen before in a skills championship because, quite honestly, there is a lot of big ramps out there and not a lot of room to walk things. So a lot of people are picking Tristan England, and I think for the first time ever, I think Tristan is at a disadvantage on this track, and I'm not even putting him in one of my favorites. I have 3 drivers that I'm selecting here that I think one of these drivers is going to be the one that wins the championship, and then I'll give you my one actual pick. I think Zach Garner is one of them. Zach Garner, a guy who I think can really pull out a wild move that you're not expecting. Tyler Menninga, I think, is a good chance at defending that championship as well. I think this track really bodes well for a guy like him. And I think Armando Castro is a bit of a sneaky choice this year, a man who's really honed his craft in that competition. But my official pick to win this competition is Tyler Menninga in Gravedigger. Yes, that's right. I've got him going back-to-back. Tom Meents was able to go back-to-back in the first 2 ever two-wheel skills championships, and I think Tyler Menninga is going to do that this year. I think this season has been incredible for him in this competition. He has been the combo king, and if he can do something like he's done all season long, it's going to be a no-brainer. He's going to walk away with the easiest championship he's ever had because, quite honestly, this man is on another level this year, and I don't think this is going to be the last of his championships either. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. I think Tyler Menninga might walk out of here with multiple World Finals championships in 2024, and I think the first one is going to come in the Great Clips Two-Wheel Skills Challenge. Now, the competition after the Two-Wheel Skills Challenge will be the Lucas Oil High Jump. This has been a really interesting championship over the years, and your defending world champion in this competition, Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, is the first of the 8 competitors. This competition is always fascinating because you are going to get the biggest air you possibly can. There is a system that marks where your highest point on the truck is at any given moment, and that is your total. Whoever gets the highest is the winner. So it's always a very interesting competition, and it's really anyone's game. Ryan Anderson trying to defend that championship this year. Colt Stevens in Thunder Roars is the next competitor. Your defending World Finals freestyle champion. I think he's a good pick for this competition as well, a guy who loves to fly high. Bryce Kenny in the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. He's gotten to compete in this competition before. Always seems to do very well. Same with Bari Musauer in Zombie. Bari always seems to get really close to that championship. Corey Rummel and Megalodon has gotten to compete in this competition as well quite a few times. I think this could be a year where maybe he gets it done. Jamie Garner and El Toro Loco, who have competed in the Last Chance Qualifier, now getting a chance to compete in the high jump competition. You never know. Maybe he'll be in the main field as well and get 3 competitions under his belt on Saturday. Tyler Menninga making his first appearance in this competition. He has never been in the high jump championship in his career. Now getting a chance to do that. He will be competing in all 4 competitions on Saturday. And lastly, Lindsey Reed in the Lucas Stabilizer, trying to carry the Lucas Stabilizer name to a world championship. Now, making a prediction for this competition is always very difficult. Ryan Anderson has won the last 2 championships in this competition, trying to go for 3 in a row, which would be absolutely crazy. The only driver to have ever won 3 straight championships is Tom Meents, and obviously the high jump competition a little bit different. It's always such a crapshoot. I mean, it's really a lot of luck, and it's also a lot of timing and skill, and really when you come out in the lineup. But the pick I'm going to make is Bari Musauer in Zombie. Bari has always come so close. It just seems like every year he misses it by just a foot or less. And I think this is the year that Bari gets it done. And quite frankly, Bari Musauer is such a long-term and long-tenured driver in Monster Jam. I think it would be great for him to get that first ever world championship under his belt. He's one of the top drivers to not have one anyway. So if he can grab one in the high jump competition, I'm sure he would be thrilled about that. So now it is time to get to the main field. This is the lineup of drivers that will be competing in the World Racing and World Freestyle Championships. These are the 23 best drivers selected by Monster Jam. It's not 24 because that 24th spot is going to be determined by the Last Chance Qualifier. So let's get into it. The first qualifier is the driver who has competed in every single World Finals, the only one. It is Jim Kohler in Avenger. Always an interesting thing to see what he's going to whip out there in the Avenger body style, what the paint job's going to be, what is he going to do this year. Very excited to see what that's going to end up being. Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger is back at it again. She is getting better and better by the year. We'll see if this year could be the year she gets a championship. The 4-time World Finals champion Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger. Always a favorite to win every competition. Maybe this year he'll win his first main one since 2018. Weston Anderson in Gravedigger. There is so much hype around this man in 2024. Will this be the year that he finally grabs a world championship? It's going to be really interesting. Colt Stevens in Thunder Roars has had a great season in freestyle, and it's good because he's your defending world freestyle champion. Zach Garner is competing in Wildside, his first ever Monster Jam World Finals representing the Garner name. Armando Castro, your Arena Series East champion, his first ever points championship. He is riding that high into this weekend in Los Angeles. It is also near his hometown, so a lot of adrenaline will be flowing through that man this weekend. Blake Granger making his first ever World Finals appearance in Max D. He's competed in the Showdown before, but didn't get a chance to win it, so this year he gets to compete in the main field with the big boys, representing the name that Tom Meents built. Todd the Duke in Megalodon, a two-time World Finals champion, but he has not won a World Championship in 9 years. Will this be the year that he gets number 3? Jamie Sullivan making her first ever World Finals appearance in Monster Mutt Dalmatian. The legendary monster truck Monster Mutt Dalmatian has never won a World Championship before. Maybe Jamie Sullivan can get that done in her first year competing. Lindsay Reed, the 2019 World Freestyle Champion, representing the Lucas Stabilizer, the truck that Cynthia Gauthier normally drives. Lindsay Reed will be driving it this year in the World Finals. Bryce Kenny, the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, is having the best season of his Monster Jam career, and I'm sure he's going to be a real threat to win not only racing, but the Freestyle Championship this year. Same thing with this man, Tyler Menninga in Gravedigger. He is having an incredible year as well. He won his series championship. He's the defending two-wheel skills champion, and I think this is going to be a big year for Tyler Menninga. Colvin Art in the Black Pearl is a name that I'm really intrigued to see what he does this year at the World Finals. He had a broken arm earlier this year, and he has really not recovered back to his normal driving style, so we'll see if that impacts him at the World Finals this year. Making his first appearance in the World Finals, Dalton Widener in Jurassic Attack, the first time that a Team Throttle Monster driver will be competing in the World Finals, and it is this man, Dalton Widener, and I'm so excited to see him do it. He got the qualifier spot from Arena Series West, and very, very cool to see him getting a chance to drive. Kayla Blood and Soldier Fortune's having an amazing year this year. I'm excited to see what she does on the freestyle track because she has been flying high this entire season. Adam Anderson in Gravedigger, the 5-time world champion, is ready to rumble. Gravedigger has been represented by Adam Anderson since his father Dennis retired, and he is leading the pack this year in this truck, and we'll see how he can do at the World Finals. Barton Musauer, just talked about him in the high jump championship in Zombie. I'm thinking he's going to be coming off of a high jump championship going into these two competitions. He's always a real threat to win both racing and freestyle. Brianna Mahan makes her return to the World Finals in Scooby-Doo. We haven't seen her in a couple years, so it's very nice to see Brianna back, and I think she's going to be a threat to win freestyle. Her first chance of driving at the stadium level of the year, so bit of growing pains there. We'll see how she can handle it. Tristan England in the JCB Digatron, his first time driving a non-Earthshaker truck in the World Finals, and he is your defending World Racing Champion. So there was a lot riding on this year for Tristan England, a new sponsorship and the defending champion. We'll see if he can get another one this year. Cody Saucier will be driving Dragon, the longtime veteran and a man who has gotten so close to winning the racing championship before, but has never done that, as well as this next man, Camden Murphy, in the Bakugan Dragonoid. He was the runner-up in the racing championship next year, and nothing would make him happier than to finally get the monkey off of his back and win that racing championship this season. And the last of the 23 qualifiers is Corey Rummel in Megalodon, representing Team Scream, one of 2 Team Scream drivers in the main field. Very cool to see him in the main field this year. So now let's make the official picks for my racing and freestyle champions. It is going to be a fascinating competition in both of them because these are stacked lineups. Racing and freestyle are both going to be very interesting, and there is a lot different this year at the World Finals. This is a very different track than what we have seen before because, quite honestly, normally we're used to seeing a very high-speed track. Really, the only year that we didn't have a high-speed track was with the over-under in 2022 when Brandon Vincent won the racing championship that year in the rain. This year is a very technical track. This is a track that I think the drivers who are good at cutting corners are going to be able to get it done. There's a lot of drivers I think are going to be favored in this track. I think the champion is going to come out of one of these drivers. I think Tristan England in the JCB Digatron has a good chance at defending his championship. I think this track plays very well for him. Another driver who I think can do pretty well on this track is Camden Murphy in the Bakugan Dragonoid. I feel like Camden Murphy is a really, really solid pick. He's looked good so far driving on the track as well. After him, obviously Ryan Anderson, a solid pick. Same thing with Tyler Menninga. But the last 2 drivers that I have I think are real threats. Cody Saucier in Dragon, a guy who really handles tight turns well, such a sneakily fast driver. I think this could be the year that Cody gets it done. And same with Dalton Widener in Jurassic Attack. Don't sleep on Dalton Widener. I've seen what this man can do in arenas. He cuts corners in tight corners better than I think anyone I've ever seen before. And if he can do that on a track like this, he is going to have a really good shot at winning that racing championship. And oh my, what a win that would be. But I have to make my official pick. And this is a really, really difficult one to make, but my official pick for this year's racing championship is Camden Murphy in the Bakugan Dragonoid. Camden has been so close. He wants this championship so badly. He has gotten so close. He's been in the final round before, and last year, the truck just broke on him. This year, I think, is the one that he gets it done. There has never been a track that plays better into Camden Murphy's driving style than this one, and he already looks locked in the pass we've seen from him. Obviously, qualifying will be a big tell, but I think Camden Murphy is going to finally get the monkey off his back and get that championship this year. However, that's not the last championship that we have this weekend. The final one is the Freestyle Championship, and this is the one that all the fans look forward to the most. This freestyle track is going to be bonkers. We have never seen a freestyle track like this ever. It is going to be a track with a lot of air, a lot of combos. You're not going to be able to have easy momentum. You're going to need to manufacture momentum. This is a track that's actually, quite frankly, very similar to what we saw from Stadium Championship Series East this year. I feel like this is a track where those drivers might do a little bit better because their track was one that you had to really manufacture momentum. You couldn't just go quickly hit to hit. You had to find the ways to make the best freestyle you can, hit as many obstacles as you could without slowing down your pace. That is what this track is going to be like. There's a lot of drivers that I think are going to do a great job on this track. I'd say keep your eye on Jim Kohler and Avenger. I feel like Jim Kohler is a guy who might really do well on this track. He loves to get big air and he loves to fly. This is a track that he could do that if the truck holds together. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Kohler grabs himself a freestyle championship for number 3 this year. Another guy, Cole Vennard, the Black Pearl. I think Cole Vennard this season is really a sneaky pick. Last year, he had an incredible freestyle. He finished second in the freestyle championship last year. A lot of people forget that. I think this is a track that bodes well for Cole Vennard. This is a track where he could really fly, but the problem is I don't know how comfortable he feels in that truck yet. So he is definitely one that I think can win it, but we'll see how he feels. Bryce Kenny and the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, I've been saying it all year long. Bryce Kenny is definitely a threat to win this championship this year, and this track is going to play right into his strong suits. Do not be surprised if Bryce Kenny wins this championship. Corey Rummel and Megalodon is another one that I think is a real sleeper pick. He loves to get that big air. If he can fly and get a crazy save in there, he might be a world championship at the end of the day. But there's 2 other drivers left, starting with Colt Stevens in Thunder Roris, your defending freestyle champion. I think he is a strong choice. A very, very strong choice to win this freestyle championship. He is my second most likely, I have to say. And if there's ever a time where I think someone can go back-to-back pretty confidently, it would be this year with Colt Stevens. This track plays in beautifully to what he does best, and that is get huge air. If he has a freestyle like he's had in some of these events we've seen this year, Colt Stevens is going to be a madman. And lastly, my official pick to win the freestyle championship this year is Tyler Menninga in Gravedigger. Tyler has been the best freestyler this entire season. There's no reason for me to pick anyone else. I don't care about the track. I don't care about anything. This man has been the best freestyler and is having the best freestyling season we've quite frankly seen in a decade. I would be stupid to not pick Tyler Menninga to win this championship. It just seems like such an obvious choice. And obviously, I don't like going for the obvious choice, but to be honest, if I'm making a prediction, I want to be right, and I would be really silly to not pick this man. So Tyler Menninga, who has had an incredible year, is my pick, and I think he's going to get 2 championships this weekend and be a 3-time world champion by the end of the weekend. But obviously, the predictions are always so unpredictable. That's why you never get to see the winning driver be someone who everyone picked. It rarely happens, so you never know. You never know what's going to happen, and whether I'm right, you're right, or nobody's right, at the end of the day, it is going to be a wild World Finals. It's going to be an interesting World Finals, and there will be 4 championships handed out this weekend. So whoever ends up getting them It's going to be a wild time. I'm going to be doing yet another blind commentary for it this year. That's going to be coming out on either Sunday or Monday, so I will have no idea what is happening when that commentary airs. It's going to be really, really crazy. I can't wait to see what ends up happening. It's going to be so cool. But make sure you tune in later, as I'm going to be live streaming my reaction to qualifying and the Last Chance Qualifier. I'm going to have my camera there. I'm just going to be filming myself. You obviously won't be able to see the TV, but if you want to tune into that and get my reaction to what's going on, obviously that's a great chance to do so. It's World Finals weekend for 2024. I am so excited for what's going to go down. World Finals 23 is upon us. Thanks so much for watching, and let's enjoy World Finals weekend.